Imagine a childhood hobby that could turn into a career that would allow you to cross paths with Lil Jon, 2 Chainz, Maria Menounos, and Bruce Willis. Well, that's exactly what happened for today's guest. Stick around to find out how. Thanks for joining us today, Daniel.
Yo, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. How you been doing?
Pretty solid. Just got back from Miami last night and kind of taking care of some stuff around the house today, but doing pretty good, honestly. So
awesome. Personal trip, work trip?
Yeah, kind of a mix. I mean, mostly just a for fun trip, but kind of scouting out some possible new work and stuff like that. So we'll see. You know how it is.
Very cool. All right. Yeah. Well, let's give everyone a brief overview, kind of who you are. Let's don't get too in depth yet. We'll get into that a little later, but just kind of give everybody an overview of what you do, so that people are like, what we're getting into here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I basically do photography full time. It's not a part-time gig for me. I do it all day, every day. So it's something I love and I'm passionate about, and very thankful to be doing, and hopefully can keep doing it for a lot longer.
I think you will be, for sure. So you're based in Georgia and Tennessee, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I kind of split time between the two. Home is officially here in Tifton, Georgia, but I find myself in Nashville pretty much once a month. So kind of a mix.
Definitely. So let's discuss first time you saw a camera, first time you picked it up and it became a thing for you. How was that? What happened there?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I mean, I feel like everybody has this big moment or whatever, and I guess in a way I kind of do. It's like I remember being a really small kid, and my dad had taken me out for like a Sunday afternoon drive or something, and we went to this Native American site in Georgia called Collamoki Mounds, and
I've been there.
It's like a historical site. It's really cool, and I honestly don't remember a whole lot about the day because I was like 5 years old or something, man, but when we went out there, we hiked up to the top of this big temple mount, and, he had a camera with him. He had this old, camera probably from, 1968 or 69 or something.
Oh, wow.
And he had it for forever, manual film camera, Sahi Pentax is what it was called. I remember what it is. He still has it.
That's very cool.
But, but he took a picture of me on top of this thing, just kind of, out looking over everything, and he handed the camera to me and was like, take a picture of me. So I don't remember a whole lot. It wasn't some big, profound, I'm going to be a photographer moment, but I held this camera up and took this blurry, out of focus, kind of an upward angle of my father. And I don't know, that's the first picture I ever remember taking. And of course, he said all the things on the camera and whatnot and made it work right. But that's the first time I ever remember taking a picture, and I don't know, it just stuck with me for some reason, but that's what I remember.
That's cool. Now, did you go from that experience to taking pictures all the time, or did that come up later?
I definitely found myself interested in it because I was just like, what is this crazy looking gadget, man? It's just this old heavy camera, and I don't know, it's just cool to pick up. And I was like, man, maybe I should figure this out. And I don't know, one thing led to another, and I ended up getting just a little point and shoot camera when I was probably 7 or 8, something like that. And nothing fancy about it, just a very basic, probably at the time it was like a $20, $30 camera or something. But that's what I kind of fell in love with photography with, that camera. I took it on family vacations, and there's not a whole lot you could do or customize about it, but it was just cool and fun to have this thing, and I could take a picture with it,
That's cool. I mean, something that simple, though, that probably forces you to become an artist if you really love what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was super little, but I don't know how much of an artist I was when I was 8,
You'd be surprised, man. My 4-year-old, we got her a Polaroid. She asked for it for Christmas, and she's taken some pictures, and I'm just like, are you 4?
Right? That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So you went on to there, and then you started taking pictures at shows and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of, I don't know. I just grew up around music a lot and enjoying it myself. And I used to play, and nothing professional or anything like that, but I always had an interest in music. So I found myself at shows a lot, and I don't know, I just started taking photos and I started sharing them with the bands basically. And
They're all over MySpace too.
Yeah, dude, it was MySpace era when I really started doing that stuff. And yeah, the shows were great, just local stuff here in South Georgia and North Florida. And I don't know, one thing led to another, just started expanding out and doing that more. And I don't know, it's crazy. It's just, I used to have another film camera too, kind of around that same year, that was a manual film camera I bought on my own. And it was, again, nothing fancy, but that's really what I cut my teeth on. And I took that to shows, and I got a digital camera eventually. Dude, it sounds crazy because it's just been so long. It's been like 20 years, but that's when I got my first digital camera. It was probably around 2005 or something.
Wow. So is there any like favorite time or moment or favorite band you like to take pictures of back in the day?
I mean, there's so many. It's just, you know how it is. It's like you meet all these great people and you build these relationships with everyone. And some of the bands that stick out to me in the early years were just, there's a local band here, and they ended up kind of changing their name, and you'll see why, but they used to be called A Day to Die For.
Okay.
And so, like when A Day to Remember kind of came along, they're like, maybe we should kind of change this up because it's so similar. But they ended up switching it over to The Variant, and they were just a great local band. And, they're from here in Tifton, and I still know all those guys. And they were one of the first bands I ever worked with. And I don't know, it was kind of like that was the stepping stone that led to other stuff. And I think also around that early days kind of era, you had other kind of regional bands, North Florida bands like Stages and Stereos and Mayday Parade, Hello Danger. I don't even know. I can't remember half of them, but those are some that kind of stick out in the sense that like they resonated, and working with them meant something and led to other things and opportunities and stuff like that. But
did you ever work with Mayday Parade? Yeah,
I used to do some shoots with them, and they were one of the first bands I worked with a lot, and did a lot of live shows for them, some promos here and there and all that. And it was just cool to meet those guys and get to know them. And, we're still friends. We actually just saw them not too long ago. They were in the studio recording, and probably, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe, I guess in January, I saw them. So a little over a month ago.
Oh, not that long ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they kind of took off too.
They did, yeah.
So what led you from just kind of going, taking shots for fun at bands and at shows and whatnot? And I know that you probably got into doing like photo shoots for the bands and album work and stuff like that. But what got you into like the more professional arena?
Yeah, I think, there's a few things that kind of pinpoint that for me. And, I guess I started, doing this professionally, whatever that means, when I was like a teenager, like in high school, I guess. But it was just kind of for pocket change, just like, I need some money to go to Taco Bell on the weekends with my friends or something,
Yeah, man.
Nothing crazy. But I think the pivotal moment for me was when I was probably about 23 years old, 22, something like that. And a good buddy of mine here in town, his name is Matt Hobbs. He's since moved away. But he had a photography business here, and I'm actually in my studio right now. And his photography business was in this studio for a year or so. Him and his wife ran that for a while, and he hit me up one day. It was basically just like, man, we're going to move away to some other town, and you should talk to the people here and try to get on the lease and take over the studio. And I went home and thought about that and had no idea what I was doing, and still don't, I guess, but I got a studio, man. And that's when I think it kind of put me into a position where, okay, you have this bill that you have to pay for every month. You have internet, you got the utilities, you got the rent. It's, I didn't even have any lights, bro. Like at the time, it was just like a shell of a building. This studio is built somewhere. I have these old fire insurance maps, and I found one from 1904.
What?
And the building is not there. But then I found one from 1907, and it is there. So sometime in that 1904 to 1907 range, my studio was built.
That's amazing.
And dude, it's crazy. It's like the tin roof in here is crazy. It has these like crazy tin ceilings that are, have a great pattern in them. That's one of the first things people notice when they walk in. And I've actually had it for 16 years as of about a week ago. So late February, 2009, I think. But that, I'll tell you, man, that's what I always point to is just getting that studio really kind of jettison me into a different realm of my photography. And I started to have to take it more seriously. It wasn't just like a game or a hobby at that point. It's like my name's on a building in downtown and I got to try a little harder, I guess, And I think there's like other kind of benchmarks along the way. Like I think I got my website for the first, like when I first got a website was maybe 2006 or 7, something like that. And that meant something too. But man, getting the studio is what I think really kind of tipped everything into that direction of doing this.
Not to cut you off, but when you set up a website, I don't know if it was like that then, but right now, you just get email after email after email about how they can help you with your SEO. Do you get those?
Dude, yeah.
Constantly.
I get it all the time.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I just delete emails
like
all day, and I want people to be like messaging me like, "Hey, I want to be on your show," or "I want to talk to you," or ask, what's a question that you can answer for me or something. But no, it's just those guys.
Dude, right? It feels like they're selling snake oil too. They're just like, "Oh, we'll do this, and then you'll be rich."
Exactly.
It's like I think you'll be rich. Maybe not me, but
right. I've been doing a lot of DIY to figure that out for myself, but
for sure.
So I'm sorry to cut you off there. So you
good,
so you got your website up, and then what happened next?
Yeah, I guess it's just, having the studio gave me the opportunity to practice on stuff. Like, doing stuff with studio lights was not something I'd ever even thought of. I didn't know anything about it, and I still don't know a whole lot. Lighting is just this like big beast of its own.
In 2006, you didn't even have YouTube yet to figure it out.
Dude, right? Yeah, you couldn't just get on the internet and Google something on YouTube and find that and watch a tutorial. It's just, what do? You got to start from scratch. And, I had a few mentors and older photographers and people that, I would go to occasionally and ask them questions about stuff. I remember taking a big binder of just prints I had and it was almost like a family album, but I put my photography in it.
Okay.
And it was just different shoots I had done, and I took it to a guy here in town. He was a photographer at the time named Herb Pilcher, and he was this, I don't know, I just thought he was cool. He did a lot of local event coverage and journalistic style work, and he just did a lot of great stuff, and I just thought he was a cool guy. So I hit him up one day and was like, man, can you just check out some of my work and just give me feedback? Tell me if it's just awful. Tell me if it's great. Tell me just what do you think? I want a good critique. And I remember sitting down with him in his house, and he kind of went through my book with me and told me what he thought. And it was very constructive. It was like critical in a good way. And it made me see, like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, I get it now. And I don't know. He was one of the people that, I looked up to and appreciated their insight. And to be honest, my parents as well, both of them had an interest in photography in their younger years too. And my aunt, she was a graphic designer in Nashville, Tennessee, and did that professionally for many years. And that's the first time I remember getting on Photoshop was at her house back in sometime in the 90s, man. It was like, this is when you had Photoshop and you had to install like 18 CDs and get all this other stuff.
We had some knockoff version of Photoshop. Like I used to make concert posters and stuff for people, but it was like the cheap, I don't know what it was, some $20 thing you can get from Walmart. It could do everything that Photoshop could do, but it was harder to use.
Yeah, it's like, why is that? It's like, this is cheap, but it's harder.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's crazy, cool, man.
So, so you transitioned from there, and you really took off. I remember starting to take notice of your work more and more as you progressed through the years, and I started to see you filmed a movie. You started to have opportunities with like major stars. So when did that part of your career kind of come about?
Yeah, with like the actors and movies and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting, really out of the blue story too. It's a guy that I know around here. He's from Fitzgerald originally. He goes by Alexander Kane. That's what his name is. And he is an actor, but he's also a movie producer and a friend of mine. So he called me one day and wanted to do some headshots, which was great. And he told me he was trying to get into acting. And I was like, cool, bro, that sounds great. Let's get some shots in, man. So he came to the studio, and, dude, within like just a few months, maybe not even a year kind of thing, he essentially landed a contract with Bruce Willis's team. He basically landed like a 5 or 6 movie contract to do films with him.
Very cool.
And that's one of the first times I walked on a movie set, but he had given me an opportunity prior to that with another smaller film, and that was the first time I'd ever walked on a set, was with a smaller film. It was like a family-based film, but I don't know, we kind of stepped into that world, and I shot stills for that, like doing, gallery shots is what they call them. It's basically all the things for the movie poster, for any kind of marketing, advertising, press, whatever merch, whatever they do for the movie. It's just that, but also doing a lot of on-set BTS stuff too, where they just have a record of everything that was done, essentially. And that first movie was interesting. I had no idea what I was doing, and
sure,
it was interesting to be around all these crazy lights, the giant cameras, all this equipment, and just all these people too. It's just, you get introduced to so many people you never thought existed. Like I don't know what this guy does, but now I know him, and I understand a little bit about his world too. So it's kind of, I don't know, movies became this interesting microcosm of just everything. You meet so many interesting people, but yeah, Alexander Kane, he's the one that introduced me to that. And like I say, we ended up getting a multi-movie contract with Bruce Willis and his team, and made a few movies with him, and yeah, that's kind of where it started.
That's cool. So working on a movie with somebody like Bruce Willis, do you actually get to talk to him at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's like this respect boundary thing. You're not just like, oh, what's up, dude? You're not just like all over him and stuff. And but working with him it was great. After you do so many movies with him, you show up on the next one, and you know who he is, and he knows who you are. You just seen each other so much at that point. And like for instance, I remember one of the last ones we did was actually shot in Mississippi, and we had some downtime while they were switching set around, moving cameras and so forth. And I just went outside to chill for a moment, and he walked out about the same time and saw me for the first time that day, kind of thing. And he just came down and sat down, and came over to me and sat down next to me. And we just had just like a super normal conversation for a long time, like 30, 40 minutes about just whatever, and yeah. You just kind of get to that point, I think, with some of these people, and people like him. He was open and willing to talk sometime, and sometimes they want to have their privacy and their space. They want to get out of there and go chill out. I mean, there's a lot goes into being an actor that your average person doesn't see, and filmmaking in general. And it is, I mean, it's fun, but it's also tiring. And someone like him, he's done it for his whole life, essentially. It's probably hard for them to even find a moment alone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
people don't think they're just regular people like you and I. They just have they've gotten to a place where people are willing to pay them more for what they do. And
yeah, it's interesting because we look at these people and think they're these giant landmark individuals, which they are. They've accomplished amazing things, and they're a face everyone recognizes, but they still have the same emotions. They have the same thoughts and feelings, and they have favorite foods and stuff they don't like, just like we do.
I mean, I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and he was talking about his friends losing their houses in L.A., and he started crying. And, man, I just broke down and started crying, too, because I'm like, man, what if that was me? I mean, I'm not famous, but they're just people, too.
Yeah, dude, exactly. They have to deal with that.
It's really cool that he was willing to come sit down and talk to you like that,
Yeah, bro, it was, man. It was something I'll never forget.
For sure. So do you have any wild, crazy stories from being on a set or anything? Anything fun, funny, crazy, scary, anything fun?
Yeah, dude, it's just, I don't know. It's just so much. It's just I'm trying to pick one. There's so much to kind of glean from, I guess. We did so many. It's just, I think.
There was an explosion, right?
Yeah, dude, I was actually about to go into that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so literally this way, there's a building catty corner in my studio and it was in one of the movies. And basically, the original thing was, let's just blow out this window. It's going to be kind of a smaller explosion, and we'll make it look nice in post, kind of thing. But I don't know. But basically, when this explosion happened, I was standing right there. It's like the front lines, bro. I'm down here with the camera crew, and we had these big face shields on, like a kind of like a weird COVID mask thing, but it's a face shield.
Just in case,
to protect you from like debris and stuff that might fly in your face or whatever. And dude, when that thing exploded, there was so much going on. It was just like, it was just a huge blast. And all this like little particulate matter stuff just hit us. I remember getting hit in the chest. I mean, we're like protecting our eyes and stuff. It's not supposed to be.
Was there like a shockwave?
A little bit of a shockwave, but it's mostly just like debris, just dirt, little pieces of wood and bits of like this. They have this, glass that's special that is supposed to fracture in a way that it doesn't cut you really. Okay. But it's, it's like this kind of safety glass essentially, but you still get hit with it. And it was just a crazy blast, man. And I don't know, man, it was big, but at the same time, I think it almost got kind of blown out of proportion. That people were going around like, oh, we just blew up this historic building in Tifton. The movies are bad, blah, blah, blah. And we were all like, I mean, yeah, it was bigger than we expected, but it's like the building is not destroyed. I mean, I don't know what all happened there, but it was a crazy moment just watching that explosion, I'll tell you that.
To be honest, some of the buildings in Tifton could use a facelift.
Dude, they could, man. They could. It might be an excuse for them to get some extra stuff in. But, no, I mean, I know that the people who own that building, they had to kind of settle with them and get some new windows and stuff.
For sure. So then,
stuff like that was crazy, man.
That's amazing. So then you worked on a few movies with Bruce Willis. Have you worked on any other movies? Or?
Yeah, so I don't know how many I've done in total, but some of the actors that stand out to me were, obviously Bruce Willis was great. And
Luke Wilson was in that one with the explosion, right?
Yeah, Luke Wilson was in that one. He was great to work with as well. We worked with Mel Gibson on another film, Josh Duhamel, Maria Menounos, Dustin Hoffman, Sissy Spacek.
Maria Menounos, she's when you go to the movies, she's there telling you to turn off your phone or whatever.
Yeah, she's at the gas station too, bro. She's like, sign up for this or do this with your life kind of thing. I mean, she's great. But every time I go get gas, I'm like, there she is. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Talking to me on the gas
How surreal is that, though? Like, you've talked to this person in real life, and then you see him, like, somewhere that's supposed to be, like, so official or whatever. Like, how is that?
Yeah, it is kind of funny. You're just like, man, there they are. I just saw them last week or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know, just so many, man. Nestor Carbonell was one of my favorites that we worked with. He played in Lost, the TV show Lost, and he was what was his name? It was Richard, I think it was.
Okay.
In that, and he also he's played a bunch of roles. He was the mayor in, I think it was The Dark Knight.
Okay.
As well, but he was just like a super chill dude, man. Very. I don't know, just very down to earth. We had great talks with him. He always down for a good conversation, just very normal, not pretentious or weird or like I'm better than you at all. He was just a very, very interesting guy to talk to. And same thing. I mean, all of them had their own things that you appreciated about him, but I think the ones that stand out to me the most are Nestor Carbonell. Josh Duhamel was great in that way too. He's just very personal. Michael Rooker was another one that stood out. That's just a very personable guy. But yeah, man.
Very cool. So what led you to going up into Nashville to take photos?
Yeah, Nashville is so my mom is originally from Nashville. She grew up there, and I still have family on my mom's side there. And we would go there my whole life for Christmas, vacation, Thanksgiving, whatever, And I just kind of got acquainted with the city in that way. And, of course, it has all the country music and as well as other genres too. But there's just so much going on there creatively. And I started shooting a little bit here and there for people, like I say, 20 years ago. And it just came to a point where I was like, maybe I should move there and try this for a little while. And so I did. And I moved up there. It was kind of this pivotal moment where I wasn't sure if I wanted to get rid of the studio.
Okay.
If I wanted to keep it. I ended up keeping it, of course. I mean, I was sitting in it.
Yeah.
But it kind of was like, man, I don't know if I can make Nashville and the studio work. Is it, how does this work even? But yeah, I moved up to Nashville for really just a couple years, and I still was back and forth a lot. And ultimately, COVID kind of sent me home. My whole calendar just vanished. It was like, shoot, you have no work.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'll just move back to Georgia. And the
Are things getting better from that, I guess, right?
Yeah, dude. It was like, that was like, man, what am I going to do now? Like, nothing. No one was going on tour. All the venues were pretty much either shut down or they had all these crazy rules of like, you can only come in if you're in a party of like X amount of people, and you can only sit at the tables. You can't walk around. You have to wear your mask. It was just hard,
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm thankful for all the measures people took, but at the same time, from like a work perspective, it's like, man, you just couldn't accomplish.
Dude, I worked at FedEx during that time.
Really?
And bro, people were all at home ordering stuff constantly. And then I worked also, Paris Island, the Marine base. So that was one of my spots. And I was kind of scared to go there because like you never knew how serious is this going to get. And then they've got these quarantine camps set up on the Marine base. I'm like, well, they're the government. They must know something we don't know. And that they let me leave a lot of packages outside buildings and stuff instead of having to go through them. But it was kind of a weird time.
Yeah, crazy moments, man. It's just, I remember sitting there in, I don't know, maybe March of that year, just thinking like, man, this might get apocalyptically crazy or something.
It kind of did.
Yeah, it kind of did. And,
wow.
But yeah, dude, that's what ultimately sent me home here and back to Georgia. And I still go to Tennessee all the time, though. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee's great. I love Nashville.
Who are some of the more recent musicians that you've kind of worked with that you thought were exciting?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I saw that you had 2 Chainz was one of the people that you did. That was for what was that for? Wayfair?
Yeah, the 2 Chainz was for Amazon Music. So he had this he has this TV show. I don't know if it's continuing now. I know they did do it this past season. It's like on Thursday Night Football after the game and everything. 2 Chainz gets on there and has his show and basically has live musicians come on and perform or whatever. And but we shot for that. It was basically all the ad content for that, the stills, any kind of still photography components that they need to help push that, as well as they had a camera crew there. It's a full set. They're doing interviews and stuff with him, little blurbs and things for him to say to the camera, like, "Oh, it's me, 2 Chainz. Come check out this," or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, he was cool. Worked with 2 Chainz twice, actually. The Wayfair thing was working with Lil Jon. So Lil Jon was cool. Okay. Yeah, he was cool, man. We shot at his house.
That's awesome.
For that. Yeah, dude, it was great. Like, that was crazy.
Honestly, I've never seen 2 Chainz look any better than he did when you took his pictures, honestly. I'm serious.
Dude, he was out there, bro. 2 Chainz is wild.
Whenever I saw those pictures posted, I was like, dude, he's like really doing some stuff here, man. The lighting was good. Man. You said you didn't know anything about lighting. Well, you do now.
Trying to, man. Trying to.
Yeah, your stuff is amazing, man.
Well, I appreciate it, bro.
So you work with musicians, and then you also do personal projects. Did you do a book?
I've never done a book. I would like to.
You should, with the photos that you took of home, man. I haven't lived near there in so long. It brought me back, and I just really I spent some time looking at those photos.
Yeah,
I would buy a book.
What kind of stuck out to you? What did you feel like, or what?
It just felt like home.
Yeah.
It's like if it were blown up and put on my wall, it'd just be looking out the window, being back in South Georgia instead of in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I do a lot of personal projects, and I think, anything you do, no matter how much you love it, there's always kind of a degree of burnout.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't done this for, most of my life, and I've had a studio for 16 years, and I was already doing it professionally before then for, at least another 5 or something like that. You kind of need a refresher to take a step in a different direction. And I think one of the things that's helped me with that lately is still doing photography, but offering prints. Like, I travel so much, man, where like I used to tour a lot with bands, and I travel a lot for work in general and just for fun, just for traveling for the heck of it. And I had this giant body of work that no one was ever really seeing, but I personally was attached to the photos, and I wanted to share them with people and tell some of those stories. And that's when I kind of came up with the thought to offer prints twice a year and share some of these landscapes. And I don't know, I have a bunch of stuff, not just landscapes. Like, some of it could be just crazy abstract stuff or small towns, or I don't know, maybe I'll do a South Georgia series. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, some of the photos you did take, they were from South Georgia, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely like Providence Canyon. There's a lot of them in there that are from around here. I can't remember what all I've got.
I'm sitting here feeling nostalgic for some other place now.
No, yeah, you're like, oh, that's not even home.
No, man.
Dude,
I follow your travels,
here.
man. You go to all kind of cool places and take all kind of cool pictures just with your phone. I could imagine what the actual photos look like,
Yeah, man, and it's always an adventure, and it's hard to describe and talk to people really, because it's like, when you go and experience something, that's your experience. And, if you're with somebody, they shared it too. But even when you're with someone, they're viewing something differently. Their experience is different. And but it's like, how do you come home with this crazy trip, whether it was a tour with a band or just a crazy personal trip? And how do you extrapolate everything that you felt and saw? And how do you share that with someone in a way that is more than just factual, but also
more meaningful?
Yeah, how do you strike on a personal chord with someone else that maybe even hasn't been to these places or something?
It's really strange that you're bringing this up, because I was just talking to my wife about this yesterday, and it seems like, like a lot of content creators, especially the generic content creators you see on TikTok and everywhere, they post things for the likes, and they want to be liked. And I was like, that's not really the way that you should create your content. You should create your content to make someone feel an emotion, whatever that emotion is. Like, and then if you make them feel that way and they respond the way that you wanted them to, then that's like a connection in the heart, and you kind of feel that. So I totally understand where you're going with that.
Absolutely, bro. It's like, it's just interesting to see what people think about something you show them, put in front of them, whether it's music, words, if you're a writer, poetry, or photography. In my sake, it's like, you may have shot something with one intent or wrote a song with one intent or whatever, but someone else, it means something totally different to them. And I think that's kind of what I enjoy about creativity in general, is that it has multiple meanings and different seasons of life. I mean,
that's true.
It's cool to look back and see some of the photos I took overseas or something. Like, I just got back from Miami last night, and, all the Caribbean culture down there, and I went to this one little restaurant. It's just a sandwich shop, but they had this same sandwich shop in Spain, and I spent a summer there years ago, and I hadn't been to this little restaurant in nearly 20 years. So it was cool to walk in and be like, okay, I'm going to have a sandwich from this place I haven't had in 20 years. And I was thinking about all the photos I took over there, all the memories, the just crazy experiences and stuff. And I don't know, a photo can take you back. It's like what you just said. You see these pictures of Tifton or, South Georgia in general or whatever. It's like, that's home, and you have some kind of associated memory with it. Even just a pine tree, you're like, oh, there it is.
Dude, and I think maybe there might be a pecan tree in one of your pictures there.
Probably.
And that, I could smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can smell a pecan tree.
Yeah, dude.
Or pecan tree if you're from the South, but
pecan, yeah. I always say pecan.
Me and my wife argue about that one all the time. She says pecan, and she says pecan, and I say pecan.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My kids say that if it's cooked, it's a pecan. And if it's not cooked, it's a pecan.
Interesting. That's a good theory right there. It kind of creates a little differentiation of like, what is this? This is a little different.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, dude.
So, you do some personal stuff for other people, like you do weddings and things like that too, right?
Occasionally. I used to do a lot of weddings. Years ago, I was doing 20, 30 a year or something like that. And especially from spring, about this time of year, March or so, all the way through October, November is huge wedding territory.
Yeah, well, I guess you kind of don't have to do weddings as much as you used to. That's probably a starting position, and then now you like can do those if you want to.
I guess it's like I don't hate on the weddings for other people or anything. I just came to a point where I personally stopped enjoying them as much. And
Right.
There's certain weddings I do love. Like
You get the
I've done
bridezillas,
some
right?
Yeah, dude, you can run into all kinds of just crazy situations. Like a fight broke out at one wedding, and
Are you kidding me?
Like, yeah,
You have to tell me about that.
Yeah, I had a videographer with me, one of my good friends named Robbie. He was with me as well, videoing the wedding. I'm doing stills and everything. And, dude, I don't know what went down. I don't know the context really, but I don't know, man. All I remember is just this dude running around with his hands up like this, just popping people. And, like...
Maybe he went to the mini bar a little too much.
Dude, maybe so. Maybe too much, too many of those wine slushies. I don't know, but... I walked over to Robbie, and I was like, man, are you still filming? And he was like, oh, yeah. I'm still filming. So we got it. Like, I don't know. Awesome. It was just crazy, man. The cops got called. We all got tipped that night. The family came over to us. We were like, hey, sorry you had to deal with this. Here's some extra money. And we were like, all right. I mean, I'm down to, like, cover your crazy white trash wedding. I don't
That's amazing.
I mean, more fights might be a good thing. We can kind of parlay this into something else. But
for real, you probably make a little money off of that on a viral video now.
Dude, right. But yeah, I do a few still, you know, and especially if like friends call. I mean, if people call about weddings, I'm not going to be like, no, I don't do weddings. But it just, you know, I would say probably 2016 or 17, I wanted to separate my brands on my website because I had, you know, these elegant weddings here, but then like all these crazy metal dudes with tattoos and giant beards and stuff. And in my mind, I was like, I don't know if like this is I feel like they would do better separate.
Sure.
So I created 2 websites, and coincidentally, all the stuff I love to cover, like the music, you know, the artists, the actors, the commercial gigs, restaurants, and stuff like that started to take off, and the wedding started to diminish.
Okay.
And it was, you know, it wasn't like I cut it off and just said I'm not going to do them anymore, but gradually over time it's, you know, trickled down to where at this point I might be doing, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 a year, something like that. And most of which are either friends or friends of friends kind of thing.
Sure.
But yeah.
So is there like a favorite piece of equipment? What kind of like camera do you use?
Yeah, so I have so many favorite little pieces and stuff. And honestly, what I do is pretty simple. I've never been a giant gearhead. I remember going to school and taking, you know, just classes for film and stuff like that. And everybody was so geeked out about the gear. It's almost like talking to car mechanics or something. It's like, yeah, man, the new ZZX 1000 is so dope. And I'm just really like, I have no idea what that is, you know, and I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, I say that, but on the same coin, you know, you flip that over and you do have to understand your equipment and how to work it and how to, like, what is good.
Right.
But I've never just been this, like, obsessive gearhead that just has to have the newfangled device in every format or whatever. But, so.
I mean, if it works well, then you got something that you want to use.
Yeah, man. It's like, I remember talking to this one friend of mine who's actually become a great friend. His name is Lucas. We were shooting a wedding together in Florida, like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. And we met there, and he does videography, and we were just talking, and he started looking at my work. He's like, you only use this terrible camera and nothing else at the time? And I was like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have like one light that I'll do for stuff. And now he was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, how do you do this? And
that's awesome.
And it was like, okay, this is cool. You know, I appreciate the compliment, but also on the same token, I was like, maybe I should get more gear.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I should try to.
I mean, I'm just using Govee lights over here, and then I bought this one nice film light that's like it's not expensive at all. It's like $80, but it was just like I watched some reviews on it. You know, I wanted to have something good enough, but not going to break the bank. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, man. People, you don't have to have. It's like. I mean, it's like when you go buy a car. It's like, do you have to go get a Lamborghini, or can you just get like a 2-door Honda Accord or something and get you from A to B? I mean, it's like, yeah, you can get all this stuff and you can definitely put it to use, but there's something to be said about taking simple equipment and just pushing it to the max and doing whatever you can with that to be creative. And that's something I feel like I've had to do. I mean, I've never been like rich, you know. I can't just go, oh, I think I'll get this now.
Right.
I've had to stretch everything to make it work. And these days I do have a nice setup. You know, I use a Canon R5.
Okay.
And it's a great digital camera. It's a mirrorless camera. The lens I love on it is a 28 to 70 millimeter lens. And what's special about it, though, is the aperture is a 2.0 aperture. It's essentially, I think, and I could be wrong in stating this, but I think when that lens came out, it was the only one that did that at the time that could work in that kind of parameters. It's good for low light. It's good for shallow depth of field when you're just trying to really bring like a subject off of a background or something. But yet it's also this zoom lens that is still can be fairly wide, but you can zoom in at the same time. And it was kind of this catch-all lens, bro, to where I can shoot my studio stuff with this. I can do concerts with this. It's heavy. It's like my hand, dude. I'm gonna have carpal tunnel for sure. but dude, it's a heavy little bad boy to carry around with if you're on a big long shoot or something. But that's my go-to setup in terms of cameras. That Canon R5 with the Canon 28 to 70 2.0 lens, and I love it. And it's coincidentally like how we even got that. Like, tell you another little side story. About, I guess it was almost 2 years ago now, we were actually shooting a friend's wedding.
Okay.
It was one of only like 3 weddings that year in 2023. But we were shooting it down in Florida. A good dear friend of mine from Tifton. And, bro, we had a great wedding. And then the next day, my girlfriend Olivia and I, we were like, maybe we should go step our feet in the water at the beach before we come back to Georgia. So we left the hotel, checked out, and dude, we parked our car somewhere south of St. Augustine, walked out of the water for like 20 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
And somebody robbed us.
Oh my God.
They came in, they basically used some kind of a drill to go into the keyhole in my car, and you can tap it like to the right twice or something, and all the windows and the moonroof or whatever will open up. And
yeah.
Dude, so they didn't break a window, they didn't do anything. They just rolled the windows down and reached in and grabbed all our junk. And so they just reached in and grabbed it and rolled out.
Professional criminals. Wow.
Dude, it was crazy. So we lost all our stuff. Like, her camera was stolen, my stuff, my passport was ripped. Like,
oh, my God.
It was just all gone, man. And the worst part is my friend's wedding pictures are gone. That's like...
yeah.
That's what stung the most, man. He called me on Monday, and he was like, oh, can I come? Because I left, like, a battery somewhere at the wedding venue, and he was like, I'll go get it and bring it back to you on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
And this is before all our stuff got stolen. So I was like, oh, I appreciate that, bro. And he came by the studio, like, 2 days after his wedding, and I had the checkbook ready. I was like, hey, bro, here's your money back. This happened. I am super sorry. And we ended up doing another shoot for free, and they had a bunch of cell phone pictures that I edited for them and put together. But yeah, man, these crooks, man, they were driving around in a white Range Rover just robbing people. The cops.
Jesus.
Dude, yeah, because I remember this car when, like, we parked. We went to go, like, use the restroom in the little public restroom thing right here, came back, and yeah, there's this white Range Rover just idling, like, just sitting there with the engine on.
I guess they got to pay for it somehow.
Right. I'm like, dang, they're like, this is how you get the Range Rover.
Yeah, do they have a penthouse apartment too? Jesus.
Probably. I don't even know, man. I was like, this is wild. The cops told us, man, they had stole everything from just cash money, firearms, other electronics, just like whatever they could get their hands on, man. The cop was like, yeah, they might have hit 100 cars today. Dude,
when I was in Australia, I was like 19, I think, 20 maybe. So we were in Brisbane in a 15-passenger van. I don't think they have 15-passenger vans. They got tiny little vehicles in Australia. Anyways, there was a bunch of us in a group, though. And we went to town. Might have been Sydney, one of the two. And I had a CD case with like probably $400 or $500 worth of CDs in the back of the van. And while we were just out shopping, somebody broke into the van and stole like everybody's valuable stuff, and they stole my CDs. I was like so upset.
Dude, yeah, like you can't replace that. It's like it took you years to build that, bro.
Yeah, and like I don't even remember what all that. It probably wasn't any good because, like, you know, growing up in South Georgia and being a pastor's son, like it was mostly like Carmen and stuff like that. But
so good. Carmen, legendary.
It really wasn't that lame, but it was, you know, it was stuff I probably wouldn't listen to even now. So
Yeah, it's still crazy though when people jack stuff like that. You're like, man, this took me years to acquire. It's cash money. It's just, it felt dirty, bro. When you get robbed like that, you come home and you're just like, I mean, somebody just invaded your privacy and stole stuff that you care about. It's just an awful feeling. And
the cops there didn't even, they like acted like it was just another day. They're like, oh, sorry, you lost your stuff. Like,
yeah, what do? You know?
Dang.
Yeah, I don't.
Thanks, man.
I kind of held out a little hope that they would find the camera or something, because they did arrest the guy. He went to jail. Like, I mean, he stole a lot of people's stuff. He's on multiple cameras and everything. And I think he did go to jail for a little while, but I don't think the camera ever showed back up.
He probably sold it to a pawn shop or something.
Yeah, it's crazy because you can actually, like, within every photo, there's the data, and you can plug your serial number into some kind of database. That if a photo from that camera is ever uploaded on the internet, like say you did take it to a pawn shop hypothetically, and someone unknowingly buys a stolen camera and starts using it, as soon as they load that to the internet, it would ping this website that's like, oh, your camera is being used right now, and this photo is who's using it or whatever.
Really?
And but yeah, that never happened. So I guess it's probably in a ditch somewhere.
I bet the FBI likes to use things like that.
Yeah, I guess so, man. It was. I didn't know that was a thing really until I started looking into it. But I was like, man, this is kind of a cool thing.
That's wild.
It made me feel like I signed up for all these Canon memberships to have, like, if I need to service my camera, it's a little cheaper, and they just offer stuff like that. But one of the things that I could recall from having that Canon membership was my serial numbers for all my gear, so I'd plugged it into the database, and thus far I haven't heard anything. So, but it's probably gone. Yeah, I just had the camera service too, like 2 months prior to that.
Okay. But, I might need to talk to you whenever I get ready to get another camera. Right now I'm just using an iPhone, but I do want to eventually do something a little bit more professional, upgrade it, Yeah,
dude, it's fun, man. I recommend it to everybody, whether you're a photographer or not, and it's fun. It's just a great way to be creative and capture the things you're doing, like with your family or just personal stuff. Like if you're trying to be creative, it's a thing that I think, similarly to music, I would encourage anybody to kind of get into it.
For sure. So outside of photography, like, what do you enjoy doing?
I mean, I do love traveling, and on like a personal level, I've really enjoyed that. Just like my girlfriend and I, we just got back from Miami. We went down there to go see the Savannah Bananas play baseball. It's like a
they're wild, dude.
Baseball team thing. Yeah, you've probably heard of them. And, but it was cool. We did that and just had a bunch of great food and walked around and saw stuff. And I love just taking in different cultures and trying different restaurants and meeting people and other creatives in different fields and just talking with them. And I love talking with people that are either they own restaurants or they're chefs or they're just passionate about food. And I love talking with people about what they have going on. We just got back a couple weeks ago from West Virginia, and some good buddies of mine up there, they're chefs. They run a restaurant, and they do private events as well and stuff like that. But we went there for Valentine's Day to their restaurant. So they came out after the night was over and hung out with us. And it was just really cool to sit down and talk with someone that's creative but in a totally different area. Right. It's just neat to see like some of the similar struggles and things you think about, some of the things that really get you hyped up and excited. But it's also cool to listen to creatives talk about stuff that's just totally different from what I do. I'm like, oh wow, I see like where you're coming from now, and
you start to appreciate what they do more because you can understand a different perspective that you don't have.
Absolutely, man. It's like I can never get in that kitchen and do what those guys do.
Right.
But I love appreciating it
for
and
sure.
Hearing what they do.
Where's your favorite place you ever been?
Oh man, it's so hard to answer that. It's like each place has its own little connection, and I love being home. I mean, there's no place like home, to be honest. It's like I have my own beef with being here because it's just hard in its own ways, but there's nothing like coming back from a big trip and you're like, I'm at home. This is my bed. This is my house. This is my back porch.
Totally know that feeling.
Chilling. Yeah, it's like that's always a great feeling coming home. But I mean, I think if I had to pick one place for the sake of a question, I think I probably would say Barcelona, Spain. I really enjoyed that. It was like a pivotal moment in my life. I think I learned a lot. It was interesting. I still haven't been back. It's been nearly 20 years. It was 2007 when I was there.
What stands out about there so much that you like pick that place?
Yeah, so I mean, I spent several months there, and another good buddy of mine named Jonathan, he was there for a couple years, and so we kind of had this shared experience of like traveling and coming out of, at that point in my life, I was like 21, 22 when I went and did this, 22, I guess.
Okay.
So pretty young, and I'm 39 now, about to be 40 in like 2 months, which is insane.
I'm gonna be 40 this month.
Okay, there you go. Right? Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like, what is the time going? But yeah, being like 22 and stuff, man, going to a foreign country. It wasn't my first time going overseas, but it was my first time.
I should say by the time everybody hears this, because this is going to go up in about a month and a week or two from now.
You're already
last month I'll be 40, so I'm already 40. So
yeah, you're in the 40s club already, like right now.
That's
Fast
insane.
forward, you're in the 40s club.
I don't believe it.
But yeah, dude, like I don't know, it just stood out in the sense that you're living in a foreign country for a little while, and
yeah,
I don't know, just everything that is.
What was the culture like there?
It's a very warm culture, man. Spain's a very warm culture. They're very inviting, very friendly. They'll talk about anything and everything. They're crazy about art, crazy about food. They want to talk about politics. They want to talk about religion. They want to talk about your love life. They want to talk about everything. And it was
That's
just
cool.
this eye-opening place for me to go and learn that you don't have to be like shut off or closed or something like that. You can learn things that you never thought were interesting to you, and it's not weird or wrong to do that,
For
and
sure.
I think that really opened my eyes to seeing things like the world and people in general in a new light, because you just run into so many people, I mean, on a daily basis, no matter where you go. But being there, it was just so deceptively similar to America in the sense that they have cars and it's nice and there's good food and you have a nice place to sleep at night. But on the same token, it's different in so many ways too. And learning about all the nuances of that is something that I'll never forget and I'll always be appreciative of.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think that similarly, like that's why I want to do this podcast, because I like to learn. I like to learn from other people's experiences. I've actually spoke to somebody from Singapore on Sunday night.
Cool.
And I like learning different cultures. And, even in the United States, like people don't realize like each state is its own little country and every single one of them is different.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's crazy, man. There's so many different places. Like, have you ever checked out West Virginia, for example?
I have. Have I gone there yet? We live real close to there. I went to Breaks Interstate Park. Is that next to West Virginia?
Oh no, Breaks Interstate Park or something?
Yeah.
No,
it's Kentucky. It's Kentucky on the other side of that. So it's like it's like the Grand Canyon of the South. And if you've never been there, dude, you have to take a trip.
Okay, see it now.
Really
I learned
awesome.
Something. I got something I need to check out.
Yeah,
now.
Me and my wife went there, and we the kids were with my parents for a couple weeks during the summer. And so one day we were like, she didn't even know we were going there. I was just like surprised her with, let's go to this place. And so like we went hiking. We love to go hiking. And and I'm a little out of shape. And I was like, we'll walk down here. We walked all the way down. We went to the bottom. There's a river. We went swimming in the river. Then we let our clothes dry on the rocks, and then we walked back up to the top. And on the way up to the top, I died about 4 times.
Your heart's like, oh.
Yeah, so if you do go there, make sure that you are prepared with plenty of water and snacks, because it is not an easy trek. It's like, I think it was like 8 miles all the way around.
Yeah, dude.
We did it in
I
one
love
day.
Hiking and stuff like that too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I wish we would have taken like a sleeping bag or hammock or something and just stayed down there for the night and came back up or something later. But
yeah, man, I love stuff like that. Hiking, getting out, exploring some trails, or just hiking in somewhere, camping, all that stuff those are some of my favorite things to do when I travel, when I'm able to, is just to get out in some nature.
Very cool. Well, you're welcome to come up here and hang out with us and go hiking anytime you want.
Dude, absolutely. We'd be down for sure. It's fun, man.
I think that's about all the questions I had for you. I would like to give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find you, and I'm going to put any links that you let me have into the show notes so people can like look you up and follow your socials and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell people the main way to see my work and keep up with me is just to go through my website, which, is just my name. It's danielshippey.com. And you can sign up for my mailing list on there. That's something that I send out kind of exclusive information, like to my mailing list, whether I'm doing any kind of special offers or blogs or whatever. Just it's a more personal view of what I'm doing. And I just think that people on that mailing list kind of see a little bit more of who I am. But yeah, man. And of course, I got all the social media stuff. You can find all those links on the website as well.
And the socials are worth following just for the adventure.
Yeah, there you go.
For sure.
Yeah, keep up with the adventures for sure. Yeah, I'm on all of it, Instagram, and I don't do a whole lot with TikTok, but I'm on there.
Yeah, I'd make some TikTok videos. I've gotten a little bit out of that, but enough so that ChatGPT says that I am an amateur videographer.
Nice. Amazing, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here today, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. This has been fun, and I really appreciate the invite to come do this. It's a cool opportunity to sit down and talk a little bit. It feels weird talking about yourself, but it's been a lot of fun, man. I've enjoyed this.
Me too, man. Very much. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Milty's World podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review because that helps us to catch the algorithm, and we'll continue to grow. Y'all have a good day.